What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we got another big post from Michael Condrey on Reddit, so we're seeing a lot more communication from the developers, and this is great. Today I wanted to talk about this post, and this one is more so focused on game modes in COD World War II. What you're looking at in the background is some Infinite Warfare Infected gameplay, and the reason behind that is it looks like Infected is more or less confirmed now to be coming to COD World War II. Now this isn't much of a surprise. We have seen that it is in the in-game code. A lot of data miners have leaked that. It's been there from the beginning, but they didn't want to release it right at launch. They actually talked about that a little bit. They also mentioned that Gun Game will be coming back to COD World War II at some point for events, it looks like. It looks like they're probably not bringing it back permanently, but basically anytime they have an event, they're likely to be bringing something like that back. And that just might work, although I would like to see some party game modes permanently available in this game. So that's the first part of this post that he was talking about, is the fact that Infected is going to be here. He also talked a little bit about Ground War. A lot of people have been asking for Ground War, which, just in case you guys haven't played many Call of Duty games in the past, Ground War is 9 versus 9 rather than 6 versus 6, and it's a relatively common game mode for people to play in the past. It's not the most popular game mode, but it was relatively common. And a lot of people are wondering why it's not in World War II, and Michael Condrey went on to explain that the maps in this game just really aren't designed for 9v9. And I totally agree with this. We actually talked about this a little bit on my stream a little while ago. Some people were asking what I thought about Ground War in COD World War II and if they should have it, and my answer was exactly what Condrey's answer is. I don't feel these maps are well suited to 9v9. There are very few maps in this game that I feel would be even playable 9v9 without having complete chaos. And also, you think about a lot of the things like health regeneration being really slow in this game, 9v9 would just be a little bit too chaotic in my opinion, because it's already pretty difficult to get into a gunfight. If you get hurt, take cover and heal up fully before you get your next gunfight. With 9v9, it would just be absolute chaos, and it would be a little bit too much chaos, I think. I realize a lot of Ground War players like some chaos, and that's the reason they play it, but I think it would be taking it a little bit too far for COD World War II. If we look at the limited number of maps that we have for COD World War II as well, there's only 9 base maps for regular multiplayer modes, and very few of those would be viable for Ground War. Maybe Gustav Cannon, possibly London Docks, and maybe also St. Marie du Mont. I can't really think of too many other ones that wouldn't be just way too chaotic, or where spawns would just be terrible with Ground War. So I definitely agree with Condrey on this one. I think Ground War is kind of out of the question for COD World War II, and personally I'm okay with that, but of course I'd like to know what you guys think about that in the comment section below. Now I wanted to talk a little bit about Infected. I'm very excited to see Infected coming. I always thought Infected was a great mode to play when you kind of wanted to play the game and you wanted to level up a little bit, but you really just wanted to relax and just kind of mess around and have that messing around sort of mode. Infected is a great place to do this. Now in the Call of Duty franchise, we've actually seen quite a few different styles of Infected, and each game that has Infected seems to kind of change it up a little bit and add their own twist to it. Personally, I still feel the Modern Warfare 3 Infected was the best Infected in the game. There were tons of players on there, and you could get very, very powerful super soldiers if you managed to stay alive and get lots of kills as a survivor. I thought this was great, and I hope we see a somewhat similar system with Infected in COD World War II. I hope they make it that as time goes on and as you get kills, your character just becomes more and more powerful. The reason behind this is I feel like for a lot of the Infected games that we've seen in the past, especially with something like Infinite Warfare, you just get completely overpowered by the number of Infected players, and you can't keep up with that. I know part of that is likely due to the fact that there's advanced movement in Infinite Warfare as well, and that definitely played a role. But I miss the times in Infected where there was actually a realistic chance of surviving right to the end with just a few survivors and everyone else being infected. I really love those matches back in the day that went down to the last like 10 or 15 seconds where you've got a bunch of people that are infected and just a few survivors, and they're just holding out that last position for as long as they possibly can. And on both sides of it, it was super tense. As an infected person, you felt really panicked and scrambled trying to get those last couple kills and finish out the game. And then as the survivors, obviously, you're pretty panicked and stressed because you're trying to stay alive and keep that horde away from you so you can reach the time limit and actually win the game. I really hope we see something like that with COD World War II, where the outcome isn't necessarily decided from the beginning. I remember going into basically any Infinite Warfare Infected match. 99% of the time, the Infected will win in that game. And as a result, there was never really any tension, or not much tension in that match, aside from when you're getting close to a deatomizer strike. Another thing with this is how it affects your stats in the game. Personally, I would like it so that Infected doesn't affect your stats whatsoever. I think that would be the best solution, because in a lot of previous games, this would just pad your win-loss ratios to the point where your win-loss ratio just isn't accurate and doesn't really mean anything. It just doesn't really make any sense to have every single Infected game that you play count as a win, or nearly every Infected game that you play count as a win. And I just hope they don't have it so it's skewing stats. I'm pretty sure with Gun Game in World War II, they made it so it doesn't affect your stats, and I think that's the right approach to take for these more relaxed sort of party modes. So that's kind of my wish list for Infected in COD World War II. First off, I don't want it to affect any stats, and second, I really hope that you gain some very powerful perks as you get kills in Infected, so that the survivors have a realistic chance of finishing out the game. I also hope they balance the timers out well for that too. That's a really important factor when it comes down to making sure you have those tense moments where it comes down to the wire with just a few seconds left. And with that, we're going to wrap up today's video, but of course, I'd like to know what you guys think about Infected in COD World War II. What's your wish list? What do you want to see out of this game mode? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.